Welcome back, folks. MTG Joe here, and today we're doing a deck tech for Jumpstart Historic Horizons, the new set that will be coming out today if you're watching it. So this is a set that will have a bunch of cards from Modern Horizons 2, as well as just random cards thrown in, arena exclusive cards, and it is going to be done in the Jumpstart format. So you can only really get cards from either using wild cards or playing in the limited time Jumpstart event. So the deck that we're playing today, or demoing today, and one that I'll be playing once the set comes live, is a mono red mid-range kind of tempo-y. It's a Dragon Rage Chandler deck. So Dragon Rage Chandler is the latest hotness from Modern Horizons 2. It's basically thrown out Delver. It's an uncommon that's like $5. It's hard. It's pretty much all you want to be doing in these like tempo aggro shells. So 1 mana, 1/1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you surveil, which means that you get to put the card into your graveyard if you'd like from the top of your library. And then it has Delirium. So Delirium basically checks your graveyard. If you have 4 different card types, then Dragon Rage Chandler becomes a 1 mana 3/3 flyer. And that it has to attack each turn if able. So this is effectively a 1 mana 3/3 that allows you for some card selection as you play non-creature spells. So we have that. I'm going to feature the new cards first and then kind of explain how we tie it all together. Also with Delirium, we have an Unholy Heat. This is a 1 mana deal 2, but so 2 to Planeswalker creature, not to face. So it's not pure Lightning Bolt, but it's kind of like Lightning Bolt at home. It does have Delirium though, so in the same way Dragon Rage Chandler gets a bonus, Unholy Heat can deal 6 damage to target creature Planeswalker. This is very impactful when with Mono Red dealing with stuff like a Lovestruck Beast, Gruul Spellbreaker, Teferi that's plussed. So just being able to deal extra amounts of damage for 1 mana is very impactful. So we're playing a full 4 of those, full 4 Dragon Rage Chandler. And then we're also playing full 4 of, and a card that I'm really interested to see how it's playing. This is one of the cards that's arena exclusive. It's a digital only card, Managorger Phoenix. 2 mana, 2/2, flying can't be blocked. Whenever you cast a spell, if Managorger Phoenix is in your graveyard, you put a flame counter on Managorger Phoenix for each red mana in that spell's casting cost. If it has 5 or more counters, return it to the battlefield, and it perpetually gets +1/1. That means each time it comes back from the graveyard, it always has that 1 extra power. No matter how many times they kill it, it doesn't lose it as it changes zones. So we have the ability to, through just playing spells, almost like Phoenix, get a scalable, as the game progresses, larger and larger Phoenix. And one of the ways, so we could just play it outright, 2 mana, 2/2 flyer, pretty decent all around. But a way we can put it in the graveyard is through Seasoned Pyromancer. So we're playing full 4 of this as well. 3 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. Notably, if we don't have cards in our hand, it's just 3 mana, draw 2. It has the upside that whenever we discard a non-land card, we get to create 1/1 elemental tokens. So if we discard the Phoenix, we get a 1/1, then we can play spells and put counters on the Phoenix, and it just kind of all synergizes really nicely together. It also has the ability for 5 mana that we can exile it from our graveyard and create 2 1/1. So late game, if you've kind of flooded, you run out of cards, it's another nice mana sink for the deck. So those are the new cards. How are we tying this together? And keep in mind, this is first draft. We're going to play it. We're going to see how things go, but this is where I want to start. Bomat Courier, artifact creature. So this counts as 2 different types for Delirium. You have an artifact, you have a creature. Bomat fills a couple roles in this deck. 1 drop that's aggressive, fills the Delirium, and it's also a way for us to get card advantage. If Bomat goes unchecked for a couple turns of attacking, you can dump your hand very quickly, and then you can sacrifice it and get those cards so you refill your hand that way. We're playing a bunch of burn in the form, we have Shocks and Lightning Strikes to pair with that. We also have Soulscar Mage, which is another powerful 1 drop. It scales with prowess. We want to be playing non-creature spells, so it gets bigger. It also can have damage through burn be assigned as -1/1 counters. So if it doesn't kill something, it can at least shrink it down. It's a nice combat trick. Kind of you attack, they block, you pump yours with prowess, you shrink theirs, and kind of trade in combat. You'll notice up top here we have a 1 of Soul Guide Lantern. There's still going to be a lot of these Delirium strategies. There's going to be a Reanimator sub-theme. You will probably see Dragon Rage Chandler in Arcanist decks, Rakdos decks as well. There's a lot of Luris decks going around. So just main board. Worst case, we just cycle it, so we get that value. It's another artifact to trigger Delirium. So it's a way to have main board Graveyard Hate in mono red. Just running through the rest of the deck, we have Bone Crusher Giants, just a very flexible card here. Removal, burn, and a 4/3 body. And then we have 1 of Chandra Torture Defiance hanging out here. Again, just card advantage, kind of the top end. Gives us a 1 of Planeswalker in the deck if we have it in the graveyard. Just try to differentiate a bit. So for the most part, we'll have instant, sorcery, creature. Actually, I don't have sorcery, do I? Instant, creature, and we could artifact. We could potentially have land. One thing we might want to see through playing the deck is if we do want any sorceries in here. Something like Light Up the Stage could potentially fiddle a role. Even something like Skewer the Critics. So as we kind of play it through, we see what works. There's also a consideration for something like Roiling Vortex in the main board, and enchantment that could potentially go to the graveyard. In terms of mana base, it's nice and simple. We have Den of the Bugbears as our creature lands. We're playing 3 of those. Then we're playing 4 of Ramunap Ruins, just as a way to sacrifice. It's a way to trigger Delirium and also just have extra reach. What may be correct is to be playing a snow package with Faceless Haven. However, we have quite a few double red pips, so I do want to be cognitive of that. I usually find, like, I played a lot of mono red in Historic, and you always draw your 2 Faceless Havens into your Burning Tree Emissary draws in the past. In terms of sideboard, this is very preliminary. Obviously, it would change with the meta itself. We just have a bunch of removal, Magma Spray for early exile. We have Braids that gets rid of Portable Hole as well out of blue-white control. Any sort of, if they bring in Cage for our managorger Hydra, Ember Cleave, anything like that. We have Burning Hands, another good burn spell that scales up for Gruul or mono green, or even against like Korvold. We have Fries for the blue-white matchup and Auras. We have Roiling Vortex versus Control. We have Rampaging Ferocidon versus Elves, Angels, any sort of life gain deck or go wide deck, also good against Cat Oven. Some more Chandra Torture Defiance to grind against Control. And want to try out a 1 of Karn, Scion of Urza. So we do have a bit of a strategy. So if your opponent's playing Rest in Peace, that shuts off a lot of our Delirium ability. So we do want to scale back on that and play more to the board and be less focused on the graveyard. So Karn's another alternative to give us card advantage, and its minus ability can let us grind a bit with the tokens itself. The sideboard obviously can change as we play, stuff that I've liked in the past. A Crone War, if Gruul or the Stompy decks are pretty prevalent, you can do something like Claim the Firstborn to steal against Auras. You can switch up your removal. It could even be if you see a lot of elves coming around or stuff of that nature. You can revise it to play the Goblin Chain Whirler. So there's a lot of options there. Similar with the main board. This is where I'm going to start, and we can kind of build out as we go along. There's quite a few cards that we can try in this shell. We can try to be more spells based and play Arc-like Phoenix with the discard with like Faithless Looting as well. A card that I was considering in here as well is Ox of Agonas. Where discarding is another way to refill your hand. So there's a lot of options. This is where I'm going to start off. Let me know what you think of the deck, if I missed anything, if you would change anything, and what you're most excited for Jumpstart Historic Horizons. I will be trying to get out as much gameplay as possible over the weekend and through the next week. So do subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy historic content. There'll be a lot more coming up in the next little bit. Anyways, stay safe out there, and thanks for watching.